And all praises be to the Most High. CBS Radio reached out to our church and want to do an interview. Okay. Ironically, coincidentally, it's on a Sunday during the time of the academy. So what I'm going to do is we're going to have a caveat for our academy members. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday. The way we're going to set it up is we're going to do our regular broadcast or our regular class. Hebrew with Elder Lawyer, Shapad and I with the news, and subsequent to that, of course, we deal with our class. But we're going to try to wrap that up around 1:30, 2 o'clock and have a live international interview with CBS Radio while we're in the academy. Right after the academy, we're going to jump right in with the interview. They reached out, CBS Radio. They want to know what the awakening is, and we're going to give them the other side of what the truth. Okay, we're not going to actually have to talk about anyone else and other people. We're going to bring forth the understanding of what the Most High would like the world to know in these last days concerning the awakening. Okay, and we're going to drop that not this Sunday, but the following Sunday in the academy. I'm going to try to link it in where right after the broadcast, we're going to call into the radio show or whichever way they like to do it through Skype, visual, whatever the case is. And the people in the academy will actually see the live broadcast before we actually upload it on our channel. So we got to coordinate it, but I'm hoping that it goes through without any flaws or any issues. And we're going to have our production team work to make sure it's flawless, professional, and the world hear the truth concerning God's people awakening throughout the four corners of the earth. And of course, they're going to try to bait us into a few things, and they're going to try to make it go into the controversial points of racism as far as claiming that Israelites are all racist and hate other people and all these things. But you know what? We're ready. We're prepared for it. Okay. The whole thing is, listen, unless you're going to tell me, a matter of fact, I'll ask whoever the interviewer is out there, I'll ask them, okay, what religion do you follow or what race do you belong to? All right. So, okay, if you're Catholic, just because you have Catholics doing things like pedophilia, should I blame you for everything Catholics are doing? So let's keep this on code. Let's keep this on point. There's a reason you called us to be interviewed, knowing that there's no provocative hatred or anything but truth with the Gathered of Christ Church. Let's talk. You want to know what's going down in the earth? I'm going to tell you. You want to know what's happening with our people with this awakening and the fact that you're doing everything to try to censor us from actually bringing forth the truth, but it can't be stopped. Without mainstream media, without anything, the Most High has awakened his people throughout the four corners of the earth, and your time is up according to God. I have no problem with you. You better get right with the Most High God. He has a problem with you. And see, and that's where we want to take it. We're gonna take it to the next level outside of this personal thing between one race against the other. No, your problem is with God and the God you serve. Okay, so you can try to censor us, try to make it seem like all Israelites hate people, and try to make sure we're not on certain broadcasts and all that. You can do that, but the Most High will nonetheless, continue the awakening of his people, regardless of how you try to spin this awakening. So you know what? In a few weeks, live CBS Radio, if it be the Most High's will. Now, and that's a great segue into this particular broadcast. All right. Matter of fact, let me bring in Elder Lawyer. One moment. Let me bring in Elder Lawyer. See where Elder Lawyer is. 1 second here. Lawman. Okay, yeah, I see. There he is. Okay, let me bring him in. 1 moment. Okay, Elder Lawyer, you with me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Oh, loud and clear. You're coming through fine. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm blessed by the best, and his name is Ahia. Now, I'm jumping right in now that Elder Lawyer is with me. This is a great segue into our broadcast this evening. You would never guess what the title is. You see it in front of you. That's right. That's right. The 48 laws of power. We're going to discuss that tonight. The 48 laws of power. Why? Most of you out there have heard of the Willie Lynch syndrome. And usually when things are going on when it comes to self-hatred, the majority of our people say, well, it's not our fault. We are subjugated, or we are a product of Willie Lynch. That's why we're going against each other. Now, to some degree, it's true. But if you know that you are a product of institutional servitude, why perpetuate the behavior if you understand that it was perpetrated on you or pushed on your foreparents? Why use that as an excuse and say, well, because of Willie Lynch, the white man is why we go at each other, and the man don't like the woman and the woman don't like a man. We learned this in slavery. Well, if you learned it and know it's wrong, why are we continually perpetuating it? But I digress, right? It's an excuse. Most of us look at this thing called the Willie Lynch and say this, that, and the other. Or you have a lot of other things out there. The Willie Lynch syndrome. You have the art of war. All these psychological themes to actually what they would call get the most out of society, or get the most out of your life by doing what? By accomplishing power over other people. The Willie Lynch syndrome, we know that was because even the slave masters got together and say, okay, we're not going to be able to keep slaves the same way with them multiplying. Eventually there'll be a mutiny. How can we bring a psychological slavery in to replace the more abrasive, abusive slavery? You know, a dead slave is a dead slave. We can't make money off of that. So we need to make a way of systematically dividing them and have them work without realizing they're servants, they're slaves. The Willie Lynch syndrome, right? Everyone and their mother want to talk about Willie Lynch, and no one want to talk about the 48 laws of power, which is not equally, but it's greatly damning in itself. I'm gonna tell you, the 48 laws of power, okay, would make, if we were using examples, would make Willie Lynch, the Willie Lynch syndrome, look like Little Bo Peep. Okay? The 48 laws of power, I want to talk about this tonight because most of you don't even know about it. Some of you don't. But the majority of us, believe it or not, have been, believe it or not, folks, have been in connection with someone who have probably used it against us. Every individual have probably ran into someone who would use these laws to control or destroy those under their pyramid. And I'm going to explain that down the line, what that means. 48 laws of power. You can call in 515-605-9327. Folks, the majority of people of influence, of black people, swear by these laws. They swear by the 48 laws of power. And if you haven't heard of this before, hold on to your seat, get a pen and pad. We're going to dive in. You've been influenced by someone who have perpetrated the 48 laws of power on you, some way, form, or fashion. Okay? Now, let's break it down. The 48 laws of power. Has this become the con man's Bible? Have the 48 laws of power become the con man's Bible. One thing that all of these so-called followers of these laws have in common, these people are at odds with the laws that are written in the King James Version Bible. They rather follow the 48 laws of power. We're going to go into what they are. I have them in front of me. Then to follow the laws of the Bible. A matter of fact, those that follow the codes of the 48 laws of power would normally try to dismiss or discredit the Bible altogether. Why? Because the laws in the Bible can have you recognize those that are trying to utilize that particular power. I'm going to go over it. Here's a question for those, and you can call in 515-605-9327. Right? The 48 laws of power has this become the con man's Bible. They don't follow the real Bible, but they use this as their Bible. To do what? I'll show you in a moment. Is there a connection between the 48 laws of power and the corruption we see in the world around us, especially those within the Black and poor communities? From the CEOs of Fortune 500 businesses to the hustlers of the conscious community. Hey, even in the hip hop industry, everyone seems to swear by these principles documented in the 48 laws of power. Now, it's deep that they follow these laws because there's a man who've actually scribed and made a book and have taught many billionaires, who's the mind behind the 48 laws of power. So if they think they're powerful, I'm talking about those who swear by the 48 laws of power. How powerful is this one guy they're all following and listening and learning from? Who is he? You're going to find out that this particular person is the Moses for con men. He's the Moses for those who are destroying the very fibers of our community. See? You know we're going in tonight. From the CEOs of Fortune 500 businesses to the hustlers in the conscious community, everyone swears by these so-called principles documented in the 48 laws of power. What is the origin of these principles, and how are they being used by businessmen, hustlers, pimps alike to control, pillage, and destroy the vulnerable in this earth? They target the vulnerable and the weak. All those that Christ said he came to save, the fatherless, the weak, the feeble-hearted, the broken-hearted. Well, they have a law, a Bible to exploit, pillage, and destroy the same people Christ came to save. Check that out. Come on in, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Now, speaking of the 48 laws of power, right? I need y'all to check this out real quick. I'm going to take your picture down for a lawyer. You can come in a second. I need y'all to check this out. Now, I'm not bringing up any accusation against 50 Cent or anyone else. Let's make that clear. I'm putting that out there right now. I'm just showing you some of the powerful people who are influenced by these particular laws of life. We have 50 Cent in front of you. Obviously, I can't play it in its entirety without it actually becoming a copyright strike. But he was on Sirius XM of years ago, and it was asked some questions. Who was the most influential person in your life? Is it Christ? Right? I'm thinking, is it Christ? It must be God. It must be your mother. Right? Listen to what 50 Cent says.
Of all your different endeavors, including music and movies, who is the one person that you have met that has offered you the best advice, whether it be in your career or life in general?
Well, I'll be honest, the gave me the best advice was Robert. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. Robert Greene. He wrote the 48 Laws of Power.
Robert Greene.
And he wrote 48 Laws of Power. He wrote 33 Strategies of War and the Art of Seduction. And we worked together on the 50th law. But before we got to do that,
hold up, you have to listen to this because he's speaking pretty quick. He also wrote, he said, this particular Robert Greene wrote The Art of Seduction. Listen.
Of all your different endeavors, including music and movies, who is the one person that you have met that has offered you the best advice, whether it be in your career or life in general?
well, I'll be honest, the gave me the best advice was Robert. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. Robert Greene. He wrote the 48 Laws of Power. And he wrote 48 Laws of Power. He wrote 33 Strategies of War and the Art of Seduction. Like I would explain to him the things that he was saying. The short of it actually was something that someone would relate to in the environment that I was from, but the long form was a bit complex for him.
He said some people would be able to relate in the environment, able to help him maneuver with some of the information he had in the environment he's from. The environment is the streets, drug, killing, whatever the case is, the place we're from. Right? I need y'all to check something out. I'm going to bring him back in a second. But here's Robert Greene in front of you. Does that look like anyone who can relate to where we're from? Pause. For those on Blog Talk, what we're looking at here, for those on Blog Talk Radio who can't see this on YouTube, we're looking at a Jewish white guy who would look like the equivalent of a sparring partner for Pee Wee Herman. He would have been considered a nerd, someone that 50 Cent would have never hung out with. Right? So, what is the correlation here? This guy is powerful, right? Let's hold tight. Let's finish listening.
That someone would relate to in the environment that I was from, but the long form was a bit complex for him. Like they'll read the back of the book, they're not gonna read the book. Mm. And he said to me, well, you know, everyone is not actually gonna be prepared to take the time to actually utilize the information that's given to them. Like if you pay attention and you actually keep whatever information is coming in front of you, that you choose what's valuable. But the things that you do hear that are valuable, if you make it your business to keep it, even if you have to write it down, so you have to say it to yourself or whatever, and you just keep, the person says something and you go, what did you just say? Hold on a second, put it in my phone. and hold on to it until it becomes a part of you in the way you actually would express yourself at different points. And then you develop a more advanced presentation, and I got that from Robert.
That's dope. It's a great question, too. I mean, not that you asked me, but it was 50 Cent that gave me my best piece of advice. When he said, if I can't do it, it can't be done. I always held that with me.
Trying all those things, those different concepts, street strategy. No, that didn't come from a black man. That came from, ironically, a white Jew, right? Came from white Jew, right? So the one who gave 50 Cent some of the greatest advice to strategize out of his scenario so happened to be a white Jew, right? We're going to talk about him in a moment as far as what his belief system is. I'm speaking of Robert Greene. The Moses to those who follow his 48 laws of power. Now, that's just one person. We have people online who appear to stand for black supremacy, or to stand against what you would call, who stand against, white supremacy, right? Who say that they're for black people and that we need to unite as a people to fight against white supremacy. There's a lot of guys out there not following the Bible, but will rally everyone together against white people. Always bringing up slavery and bringing up history. And it's all good if you mean well. Who am I talking about right now in particular? Right? You have this brother who swears by the 48 laws of power, and every day he speaks against white supremacy. Well, he swears by Robert Greene's principles that is really the code within their communities. They have all read it and swear by it. Huh? The 48 laws of power. How you see, but you know the people. I'm gonna tell you the people who are too blind to see what's going on. The weak and vulnerable, these people out there prey upon. They know the majority of people are not going to go and study what are the 48 laws of power and the man behind it. You'll attack the Bible publicly and big up all these Masons as those who are controlled by the elite powers. You will big them up while attacking the Bible. And then you will sideways act like you're down with us. I'm down with the black man. I'm not down with white supremacy. But then you learn a code to destroy the vulnerable by the same white man you claim is exploiting and destroying our people. We're going to talk tonight. We're going to talk tonight, folks, because you wouldn't believe how many people been rolled out in front of us that you think are of us. But really using our color as a Trojan horse to come in and destroy us inwardly. I've heard Charlemagne the God talk about the 48 laws of power. All these people talk about the 48 laws of power. But they have never used the 48 laws of power to take down the people they're complaining about. They only use the 48 laws of power against us. You got all this power and know all the rules, but yet you're complaining about what the other nations are doing, but yet you're not using that power against them. You're using it only within the parameters of an already destroyed and destitute community. You're only getting the privilege to use that power if it's against your own people. Now they're 48, so I'm going to skim through them in a moment. And we're going to talk about the guy's religion who's behind this particular ideology. And guess what? The Bible warns us against guys like Robert Greene. It was psychologists and Satanists like this who are behind the Willie Lynch plan. At the end of the day, we suffer behind all these particular psychological apparatuses that's supposed to be out there to help an individual. At the end of the day, we suffer. And if you follow these laws of power, you automatically become a servant to the master who did what? Who have shown you the power. That's how it works. The pyramid. You have the all-seeing eye at the top, which is Lucifer. You can be a master under Lucifer, but you must serve Lucifer. But he'll give you the power to exploit those at the bottom base of the pyramid. See? So you have Robert Greene, who's serving a higher master, a dark lord. And through his power, right, even though he's serving the dark forces, he's able to get servants out of us. And it trickles down, and it's a perpetual cycle. This is how they get slaves. They empower one, and then what? You get those who are under you to serve you. And it goes on and on and on and on. But at the end of the day, the whole pyramid serves Satan. That's how it works. I'm going to introduce this and bring out some information on these, because I know a lot of you are asking, these 48 laws of power, I've never heard of this. Usually I've heard of it in passing, but I didn't know it was that deep. Yes, it's used on every level against the vulnerable and weak. It's a playbook on how to exploit the weakest people and the weakest minds on earth, and how to aggrandize yourself off of others. For those who've just come in, the 48 laws of power, has this become the con man's Bible? Is there a connection between the 48 laws of power and the corruption we see in this world around us? From the CEOs of Fortune 500 businesses to the hustlers in our communities, they all swear by these laws put together by Robert Greene. What is the origin of these principles? Who showed these principles to Robert Greene? And how are they being used by rich and powerful people and hustlers alike to control and pillage the poor, the vulnerable within our communities? It's upon us to let you know these laws exist against you. Okay? It's upon us to let you know these laws exist. These cunning con folk will find the area. They'll usually hit a hot button emotional scenario topic on a person to get to lure you in as bait. Okay? To get your interest. And while luring you in, they're finding out how they're trying to materialize ways to get you to serve them. Okay, I'm going to talk about this in a second. Elder Lawyer, before I go in and introduce this Robert Greene that most of us don't even know about and give his background, is there anything you would like to say before I go in, Elder Lawyer?
No, sir, not necessarily. Just outside of the fact, and I think you mentioned this earlier, for a lot of the brothers and sisters who may have never, or may have heard of it in passing, heard of these things in passing, but never really took the time to look into it. You'll be surprised how prevalent these things are used in the business world, in everyday life, by people who you may work with or associate with. You may not know it because they don't openly come out and say that they are advocates or, they are practitioners of the 48 laws of power, but nonetheless, the influences and the different traits and the different forms of suggestion and seduction, all of those things are evident in the way that they deal with people, their relationships, and all these different things are affected and influenced by their particular acceptance and practice of these 48 laws of power. So, I can't wait to see the presentation and get into it. And I guess on the back end, we can come back with some commentary.
Okay. Thank you, Elder Lawyer. Let's now, this brother here swears by the 48 laws of power, but yet he claimed to fight. He's fighting white supremacy. On and on and on and on, folks. And they all have one thing in common. The people that follow these laws can't stand the God of the Bible at all. The Bible is like a cross to vampires to them. Okay? But they swear not by the laws of God, but by the 48 laws of power. Now, let's introduce to you Robert Greene, if we will. I put him up on the screen earlier. That's him there, Robert Greene. He's the guy that's giving advice on how to stay to the rich and famous, on how to stay on top. They go to him for counsel, insight, information. This white guy here, right? And I'm sure his information is helpful for those who are willing to compromise their spirit and compromise their morality. Let's go over it here, right? I'm going to show you how we're going to tie this all in. Hold tight. One moment. Let's talk about it here. This article by the Telegraph reads, "Why Robert Greene Isn't Who You Think." Robert Greene's infamous rule book advocating ruthless cunning in the workplace is revered by rappers, movie moguls alike. So why is he the modern day Machiavelli? How is the modern day Machiavelli such a pussycat himself? He's innocent. See how they portray it? See, folks, what you're looking at is the real thug. Okay? This is the guy thugs go to for advice. You notice he don't have a fitted cap. His pants ain't hanging off his behind. Okay? His shoes probably cost about 15, 20 bucks at a thrift shop. This is what a real thug looks like, folks. That's a thug, what we're looking at. This is who the thugs go to sit at his stoop as a disciple of him. You notice the news will portray all of the stars, our people who go to him as advice, as thugs, killers, all that. And they'll glorify all of that and sensationalize it within our communities. But look what they say about him. His infamous rule book advocating ruthless cunning in the workplace is revered by rappers and movie moguls alike. So why is the modern day Machiavelli such a pussycat himself? One would be forgiven for thinking that Robert Greene, author of the 48 Laws of Power, the international bestseller on how to shin up the greasy pole, must be an arrogant megalomaniac living behind security gates in one of Los Angeles' smartest neighborhoods. So I'm surprised to be greeted by the affable, bespectacled man wearing slightly crumpled clothes at the door of his Spanish-style bungalow off a busy street in Los Angeles, Feliz, a bohemian area on LA's west side. Bohemian area. Everyone assumes he practices all. I practice all of my own laws, but I don't. See what he's doing? He is practicing a law. Because why? The greatest trick that Satan ever played on mankind was making you believe he didn't exist. And I'm just using that metaphorically. He's like, you would think that I use these practices, but I don't. I'm just mild-mannered. I wouldn't hurt a fly. Right? He says, everyone assumes I practice all my own laws, but I don't. I think anybody who did would be a horrible, ugly person to be around. And then he laughs. Greene laughs. He says, I don't practice these things because if you practice the 48 laws of power, that would be an ugly person to be around. But all of our people who are rich, the hip hop artists, in the conscious community and all that, they swear by this. So what is he saying? Those that follow this and get my advice, they're horrible and ugly people. Then he started laughing, Greene did, who has just written a new book called Mastery, to show you that, yes, you have to realize, folks, those that run the synagogues, they're really the authority over Freemasonry. You can have the Spanish Rite, the York Rites of Masons. You can have the Prince Hall, which a lot of our black people become initiates of and go up in degrees in Masonry. But all of them are at the behest of the rabbis, folks. When I put up that pyramid, you have to understand how high those that run the synagogue is on that pyramid. But I digress. They are higher than so-called Freemasons. It says, he laughs, and Greene has just written a new book. You know, everyone's going to get that. I would stick with the Bible if I were you. Key is identifying one's life passion. Then it says, Greene uses historical masters such as Charles Darwin, Satanist, occultist, that's who he was, and Mozart as examples. All these people practice the dark arts and use witchcraft and high hallucinogens, whom he revered, as well as modern ones like the architect Santiago Calatrava. Although inspiring overall, some spectacles are discouraging the level of dedication Greene advocates. Right? Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to put it to the side. Thank you. Right? Now, but we're going to go over the 48 laws of power in a second, folks. A lot of you didn't know this exists. And you know why I went and studied and looked into this, folks? The reason why I went and studied on this guy, Robert Greene, I've been hearing his name all over the place as if he's some type of messiah. Jay-Z, all of them. A lot of basketball players, those in business, you name it. Those moguls are at the doorstep. This guy, Robert Greene, is a sage on a high level, folks. And in order for us to break the spell, brothers and sisters, we have to get out of the spirit of idolizing people. I don't want to digress into a different topic, but we have to get out of the spirit of idolizing someone beyond measure. Just because they have money, just because they're rich, or they may have influence or talent that you respect. We must be very careful because Satan worked through idols. He worked through idols. They've made people idols. And these idols gain power by Zen masters, wizards, sorcerers. I'm going to tell you, folks. And if I didn't let you know these things, because they're not going to tell you, they'll mention it. Yeah, I got good advice by Robert Greene, knowing that not one black person or poor person in the neighborhoods understand who this guy is. We have to warn you. I'm going to hit you with it, folks. A lot of pastors out there will follow more laws within the 48 laws of power than the laws written within the Bible. You'll be surprised. A lot of prosperity pastors studied the 48 laws of power, folks. 515-605-9327. Someone just texted me. I know it is. He probably want to come on here if he's on here. Let's see here. It's okay. We're going to go into it now. Let's go to the next page. Let's find out who Robert Greene is. Let's find out who Robert Greene is. A matter of fact, I'm going to play this for those who've just come in and who might have missed this 50 Cent clip while Get Rich and Die Trying was out, while he was getting all these different accolades within the business. And I'm not blaming 50 Cent. Hey, he had to hustle to try to get from out of his environment. Okay? And I'm not making an excuse for him. But, you know, hey, he played the game all the way. And, you know, that's his life. I just hope that the brother would repent, come to Christ, and follow the laws of God. You know, you understand? To try to cover some of the sins that have accumulated from him following the 48 laws of power. But I want to play this real quick again for those who've missed it. Real quick.
Of all your different endeavors, including music and movies, who is the one person that you have met that has offered you the best advice, whether it be in your career or life in general?
Well, I'll be honest, the gave me the best advice was Robert. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Robert Greene. He wrote
Robert
the 48
Greene.
Laws of Power. And he
Who have given 50 Cent the
You a
greatest
freak.
advice he've ever received?
and he I'll be honest, the gave me the best advice was Robert. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Robert Greene. He wrote
Robert
the 48
Greene.
Laws of Power.
The 48 laws of power?
And he
So every young artist who's looking to get with 50 Cent has gotten will study what? They'll study what? Not the Bible. They will now look into that 48 laws of power because they work against poor people. They work against those who are the most vulnerable. This is how masters stay masters. Follow me here, folks. I don't want to lose you. Stick with me because we're going to go through some of these 48 laws of power. Right? Here he is on your screen. right? Let's find out who Robert Greene is, right? Let's find out who he is. Robert Greene is an American author known for his books on strategy, power, and seduction. He has written 6 international bestsellers, such as The 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction, The 33. This guy liked to stand 3 minutes in a room when he's actually getting the advice from the dark side. The 33 strategies of war, the 50th law. It says, and then it says in his Wikipedia, with rapper 50 cents, with rapper 50 Cent, the 50th law, mastery, the laws of human nature. So in a nutshell, how to use psychology to manipulate the vulnerable and weak or the ignorant. No, don't teach the ignorant. Don't teach them. Use them. See? If you understand their weakness, that's a point of exploitation. Exploit that nature. You're not discovering human nature to help mankind, are you? How to find the weakness in people, this man has mastered. Not how to build them and to protect them and show them and guard them against the masters. Look at him. Look at it. It says here, early life. The younger son of Jewish parents, Greene grew up in Los Angeles and attended the University of California. I need to go, and it says right here. Let me jump right to it. Before finishing his degree at the University of Wisconsin-Madison with a BA in classical studies, before becoming an author, Greene estimates that he worked 80 jobs, including a construction worker. Let's get straight to it here. Greene, it says right here, Greene worked as a writer at Fabrica, an art and media school in Italy. And it says Greene pitched a book about power to Elfers and wrote a treatment which eventually became the 48 Laws of Power. He would note that this was the turning point of his life. Right? The 48 Laws of Power, published in 1998, is a practical guide to anyone who wants power, observe power, or wants to arm themselves against power. The laws of distillation of 3,000 years in the history of power, drawing of the lives of strategies and historical figures like Niccolo Machiavelli, Sun Tzu, Haile Selassie, Queen Elizabeth. These are all occultists, folks, I'm mentioning right now. Queen Elizabeth, Henry Kissinger, P.T. Barnum. And it says, each law has its own chapter complete with a transgression of the law, observance of the law, or a reversal of that law. The 48 Laws of Power have so popular, well-known rappers, entrepreneurs, and celebrities, athletes, and actors, including 50 Cent, Jay-Z, Kanye West, Busta Rhymes, Ludacris, DJ Premier, Drake, Dave Charney, Brian Bosch, Michael Jackson, Courtney Love, and Will Smith have all been students or disciples of this one wizard. Now, why do I say wizard? When you go down the line, it tells us in his personal life at the bottom, it says he lives in Los Angeles with his girlfriend, who is a filmmaker. Green can speak 5 languages and is a student of what? Zen Buddhism. See? He studied under the same masteries above Oprah Winfrey. See? He's a student of Zen Buddhism. So when I mentioned that he deal with sorcery and all those things and deal with the dark side, it wasn't an alleged accusation here. He's an admitted Zen Buddhist. Right? He have books, 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction, 33 Strategies of War, The 50th Law, Mastery, The Laws of Human Nature. 9 times out of 10, folks, someone in your neighborhood, on your block, in your community, you've ran into someone who have actually used these laws against you. But guess what? You know what is their kryptonite and what can expose them and shield you from their mastery? The Bible. The Bible. I'm going to go there in a moment. You would think someone who came from the chosen people of God and say that they walked through the Red Sea like Moses would champion the Torah and teach those laws. One would believe they would be teaching the laws written of in the 5 books of Moses, right? The chosen people, why not give them the laws God gave you on Mount Sinai? Huh? So, in a couple of seconds, we're going to come back and we're going to just flash through some of these laws. We're going to go down all 48 and you tell me, should we idolize or revere those who would follow such laws? Have you been a victim of someone executing the 48 laws of power against you? Yes, you have. If you've listened to a person who claimed they're down for black people and they are against white supremacy, but then go on the Breakfast Club and other places and say, well, I've studied, I've read the 48 laws of power. Hold up, I thought you was against white supremacy. The author of the 48 laws of power is a white supremacist. Right? See, we try to cover a broad spectrum of conversations, but why? Because, folks, they've manipulated us on every level. They would rather have us go look back in the 1700s at Willie Lynch that no one can put on trial right now for executing a psychological playbook against us. They would rather us look back at slave ships and all that, not realizing there's laws in place now that exploits and destroy our people. And what's worse above all, the white people aren't the only people using us as servants anymore. It's our own, exploiting and stealing and destroying us. Swearing by these laws. And we're going to expose them tonight. Hold tight. And we're going to run down a few of these 48. Hold tight. We'll be right back.
Are you seeking to strengthen your biblical foundation? Join us in the Hebrew Bible Academy, where we offer 12 weeks of in-depth learning in a structured environment. Receive real-time news from Brother Chapat. and Amazing Lessons by Elder Ricard. Learn ancient Hebrew with Elder Lawyer. With 12 amazing lessons, you're guaranteed to learn more about your true biblical history and authentic Hebrew language than you would in a traditional Christian church for only a one-time payment of $150 or 3 monthly payments of $50. Join us at historytimes.org and sign up today. It's not too late. See you in the academy.
Okay, folks. Okay. All right. See you in the Hebrew and Bible Academy. That's right. All praises be to the Most High. Of course, you all know I'm Elder Ricard Shaw, the Gathering of Christ Church here. And we're talking about this evening some of a topic on what most of us have probably knew about, who have studied, as far as studied the word and studied on an academia level. But the majority of our people don't even know about the 48 laws of power. And I wanted to introduce, what Satan have been using, in secret to keep our people oppressed. And I'm going to let you know, folks, it's a diversion just looking at white people saying the white man and white man, white man. They no longer have to execute, a hard bondage on us anymore. They have taskmasters, the same as Egypt. The Egyptians were using our people as taskmasters. You have to understand how this thing works. You have to understand how this works, folks. They have gatekeepers. They have taskmasters who are doing, exponentially more than what they could do in our neighborhoods. Think about it. They're using our own people, folks. Talking about white supremacy. No. It's about us fixing ourselves, coming together so that if we are united under one law, we can now point out what's wrong amongst us and point to those who are destroying us from the outside together. That's how it works. Who's more dangerous? Robert Greene or the people he's teaching against us? Who's more dangerous? Think about it. Because if Robert Greene came in our neighborhood and tried to execute something, you understand? He wouldn't last 3 minutes. But if he can program certain people with the ideologies to destroy us, the people we usually trust, these are the people who can destroy us inwardly. And that's why the Christ was pointing out those that were amongst us, like the Pharisees, scribes, all those that was in authority and revered by the population in our communities. He was pointing them out. The Roman Empire, the so-called white man, Pontius Pilate, looked at Christ and said, listen, I don't see no fault in this man. I don't see no fault in Christ. Christ was a black man. Pontius Pilate was a white man. He says, listen, I don't see no fault in this man. But our people said, listen, string him up. Give us Barabbas. And I'm just making a point. Now make it clear, I'm not making no excuse for Robert Greene. Robert Greene is Satan's son. But his ideology is being executed by using our people as soldiers against us. By teaching our own people to be soldiers. The infantry to destroy us inwardly of the elite are our own people. I'm about to go through some of these 48 laws of power. But before I do, I'm going to take about 2 phone calls. 515-605-9327. If you want to call in, chime in, 515-605-9327. 704 area code. I seen you holding on. You're live with the Gathering of Christ Church. How can I help you?
Shalom and blessings. How you doing, Elder?
I'm blessed by the best. Talk to me. You're live on the broadcast.
Oh, praises. God, I actually got an excerpt from the 48 Laws of Power. It's one thing that I was reading, prior as I was coming in and when I came into the truth. And they actually talk about Caesar Borgia, right? So they understand what's going on, right? And this is the first law. And I got to highlight, I since then threw my book away, but I was able to still find it. So the first law goes into never outshine the master, right? Keys to power. It says, in the year 1500, Caesar Borgia laid siege to Faenza. When the city surrendered, the citizens expected the worst from the cruel Borgia, who, however, decided to spare the time. He simply occupied its fortress, executed 9 of its citizens, and allowed Prince Manfredi, 18 at the time, to remain with his court in complete freedom. A few weeks later, though, soldiers hauled Fort Manfredi away from to a Roman prison. Later, it says, a year after that, his body was fished out of the river Tiber, a stone tied around his neck. Borgia justified the horrible deed with some sort of trumped up charges of treason and conspiracy. But the real problem was that he was notoriously vain and insecure. The young man was outshining him without even trying. Given Manfredi natural talents and the prince's mere presence made Borgia seem less attractive and charismatic. The lesson is simple. If you can't help being charming and superior, you must learn to avoid such monsters of vanity. Either that or find a way to mute your good qualities with the company of Caesar Borgia. And I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you, brother. Great points. I appreciate it. I'm going to place you on hold. The brother always bring good points. We have one more call, then I'm going over some of these 48 laws of power that's being used to exploit our people. Because don't claim you're reading the 48 laws of power and haven't insulated that power and joined our people together against the enemy. Okay. What power you really have when the power can only be executed against your own? 678 area code.
Shalom, Elder. How you doing?
Shalom. You're live on the broadcast. Talk to me.
Oh, good. Yeah, just wanted to call in real brief and speak on the topic.
Hold up, brother. Before you say something, I wanted to mention someone seen me drinking from this blue cup and asked, is this joy juice? No, it isn't. It's herbal tea. Tea. Okay. Now, if I had some wine over here, I would tell you, but no. Herbal tea. Talking about joy juice. These people. Come on.
Unfortunately, we live in a day and age where people just want to find some sort of issue, with someone who is held in high regard because they have their own shortcomings. So they're like, well, it can't be possible that this man is, so righteous. So, people reach. But anyhow, yeah, speaking on the 48 laws, though, Elder, me being a person in the past who's really, I've read the 48 laws, How to Think and Grow Rich, a lot of these quote unquote self-help books, and come to realize that there are elements, many of them, that can be utilized to where it can make you, quote unquote, successful in this world, financial gain, whatever the case may be. Okay. But here's the interesting thing, and I'll wrap it up. What's very interesting about the 48 laws and all of these other self-help books and the art of war and these different things is these particular laws can only work in a chaotic and fallen world. I think that's just very interesting. And as you go through the list of the 48 laws, I think the listeners will be able to view that and understand that you can only utilize laws like that in a fallen, satanic world. In the kingdom, in the kingdom of God, these laws would not be applicable and they would not work. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
You know what, brother? That is a good point. You know why they wouldn't work? Because it tells us when Christ returns, he'll deal with the enemy first. And it says, those are my enemies that will not serve me. Bring them hither and slay them before me. There's only going to be one power.
Right.
There's only going to be one power on earth. The power of the Most High God through his Son. And the power he gives, to the 12 disciples and the 144,000 to rule the earth for 1,000 years in righteousness. Okay? That's the only power. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I have a few more. If you want to come in, the brother always brings some great points also. And of course, he's in the business out there, so he understands what's being read. And guess what? There are a lot of what you would call interesting information on how to stay on top within the 48 laws of power. Right? But you cannot follow these 48 laws without compromising your spirit, your soul. You can't do it. And guess what? Even Christ says that no one can serve two masters. Even you'll hold the one or love the other. You can't care for people and follow the 48 laws of power, because your power has actually been accumulated by taking the souls and killing and destroying others. It's like you must destroy someone and weaken them and take their power to become powerful. It's evil. It's wicked. So it's one thing if you work hard and the Most High bless you because you were a hard worker and you received everything accumulated through hard work and righteousness. That's one thing. It's another thing if you've gained your power off of the blood of others. Let's go through these 48 laws. I know I have a lot of people on. I'm going to bring you on. I'm going to make this more interactive today. I'm even going to read some of the chats out there. But don't accuse me of drinking joy juice. I'm not drinking anything right now, right? I'm good. But anyway, the 48 laws of power. Has this become the con man's Bible is the question. Right? I've already given you the bio on the Moses of the 48 laws of power. The majority of people that follow these laws hate the laws contained in the Bible. You would follow 48 wicked laws, but you'll deny the 10 commandments. Shouldn't it be easier to follow 10 opposed to 48? From CEOs and Fortune 500 businessmen to the hustlers of the conscious community, everyone seems to swear by these so-called principles written within that document, that satanic document or book called the 48 Laws of Power. What is the origin of these principles, and how are they being used by businessmen and hustlers alike to control and pillage and destroy our people and the vulnerable on earth. Above all, how can you make it where you can protect yourself and your family against those who believe in those 48 laws? And that's what I want to do at the very end. Say, listen, you're not going to stop the devil and his disciples from being devils. But what we can do is understand what people are practicing and avoid them. If anyone outwardly they follow the 48 laws of power, that should be a key or a clue to anyone with with common sense to know to run from that person. Okay. Now, let's go over the 48. Let's do it. All right, all right, all right. One moment. Yeah, here we are. Okay, there they go, right there. Get on this side. Okay, let's go over a few. The 48 Laws of Power summary. Number 1, never outshine the master. Never outshine the masters. Always make those above you feel comfortably superior in your desire to please or impress them. Do not go too far in displaying your talents, or you might accomplish the opposite. Inspire fear and insecurity. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will retain the heights of power. That means fake it. Okay? That means pander and know in your mind that you're greater than someone, but make them believe they have the upper hand. Right? Wicked. Number 2, I'm not going to read all of the, I'm just going to read the laws. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use your enemies. Number 3, conceal your intentions. Never tell anyone what you intend to do. Wicked. Number 4, always say less than necessary. Now, this particular law right here is actually written of in the Apocrypha, that a man of wisdom has less words in a room. But listen to their spin on always say less than necessary. Robert Greene, the Satanist, he's a Jewish sage, states, when you are trying to impress people with words, the more you say, the more common you appear, and the less in control. Even if you're saying something banal, it would seem original if you make it vague, open-ended, and sphinx-like. Powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less. The more you say, the more likely you are to say something foolish. Now, that last statement he just said comes from the Apocrypha. That you don't know a fool until they open their mouth, and that's actually a statement in the Bible. Right? Now, law number 5. So much depend on reputation. Guard it with your life. Court attention at all cost. Right? That means you must stay in the media or have people, whatever room you go into, whatever, you must court the attention. That means if people not paying you no mind, you must make yourself the center of attention. Boy. Number 7. Check this out. Get others to do the work for you. but always take the credit. Oh my goodness. Get others to do the work for you, but you be like, yeah, I came up with this. That sounds like the record business to me and all other, but I digress. You got a guy by the name of something Steen or Berg as an executive producer behind an album who don't know how, who never played an instrument, don't know how to sing or write anything, but they're the executive producer. Law number 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. Number 9. Let me skim through these. When through your